Knowing Dan's World, we've literally all had this question. We've all wondered, if every Toon got put against each other in a literal fight, who would win? And after spending literally several days thinking about it, I finally figured out a way how to do it. And I know other people do too, because it reinforced my idea. Whenever I read this literally today on the Reddit, if all 21 Toons were in the same lobby, who would survive the longest? Bear with me, everyone. I'm going to explain the very convoluted and complex way that we're going to digest this. So, as you all know, Danny's World Toons have 5 different stats, as well as this is going to be our main determining factor on deciding who will win fights is based off their statistics. Abilities will play a minor role. And I was thinking to myself, how could I possibly make these people fight each other based on statistics and actually make it fair? And then I thought, oh wait, I'm a nerd. I love Dungeons and Dragons. So then I thought to myself, ooh, wait a minute. I can use Dungeons and Dragons stats in part with Danny's World stats. So let me show you what I did. For the sake of balancing in this video, main Toons are considered level 2 in D&D. Your health is going to be 3x your hearts. 2x, my bad. So basically, Flutter is going to have 6 HP. However, main Toons are going to be level 2, which means your health is double. So for example, a main Toon like Pebble is going to have 8 HP. And here's a brief description of all the stats that we use to help you understand how these stats correlate to characters. Strength is what helps you crush a potato or tomato. Dexterity helps you catch a thrown tomato. Constitution helps you eat a bad tomato and not be sick. Intelligence helps you understand why a tomato is a fruit. And wisdom is perceptive, observant, and sensible. I couldn't find an exact definition or like an example of wisdom. However, we somehow have to make those make sense to skill check, movement speed, stamina, stealth, and extraction speed. So you might disagree with my logic as to what I did here, but for the sake of the video, you just have to bear with me. I made strength be your extraction speed because I figured if you were really strong, you could maybe make more ichor fall out of the machine quicker. Obviously, dexterity is just going to be stealth. If you actually ever played D&D, you know that if you make a skill check stealth roll, it's based on dex. Constitution is going to be stamina. I just figured that's like how much you can endure. And if Constitution helps you from eating a bad tomato and not be sick, then you could maybe run a little bit farther. Intelligence is movement speed. The only way I could justify this, is that they understand how line of sight works. And because the Toon is so smart and they understand how line of sight works, their stamina goes farther. I know, that was the weirdest one. And wisdom is skill check. You're just perceptive and you don't need to work as hard to get more ichor from out of machines. That one makes a lot of sense. But, hopeless, congratulations. You've now turned all the Danny's World stats into D&D stats. Now what? Are you gonna play D&D on the board? No, I have something better. I found this amazing simulator right here, as you can see, where I can put certain characters on a blue team or a red team, and then I'm gonna have people fight each other, and then I'm gonna simulate it. It is gonna be amazing. And for the sake of the video, everyone's gonna have the same charisma and the same AC and the same DC. And to save you time on the video, I know you're asking, how are you gonna decide who fights who? That is an amazing question. There's 2 ways I could have gone about it. I could have just made 2 big groups of teams go against each other time after time and time until there's only 2 people remaining. But instead, I made a giant bracket. So as you can see here, I put literally every Toon against each other in a fight. We're gonna make them fight each other, but 2 Toons are gonna get a bye. And for the sake of the video, I did randomly spin all these matchups. In case you're wondering, it was Shrimpo and Connie. I didn't roll for these. I just knew that these 2 were going to get the bye. Either way, check your matchups. They were completely random. Based on all of the rules of the video now, go ahead and mentally check who you think is going to win and win this Dandy's World Hunger Games, Survival Games, Dandy 1v1 Battle Brawl. This is the most convoluted, complex video I've ever made. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. I'm trying something new. Either way, let's get into our first battle. So coming up in battle number 1, we have Tisha versus Sprout. I also have the option to pick the terrain that I want for the map. We're just gonna sue every single one as random. Let's go ahead and simulate this fight. Every time this fight is gonna get simulated, it's gonna be as if they fought 50 times. Nah, we'll just do 10. It'll be as if they fought 10 times. Red team is Sprout, blue team is Tisha. Who is gonna... I have to log in. God damn. The simulation may take up to several minutes. Hopefully not super long, because we have a lot of fights to get through. And almost a team wipe. Sprout dominates Tisha. Tisha wins 2 out of 10 times. And it is obvious that the main Toons are going to be a lot stronger, but Sprout has an absolute flawless victory there. Up next, we have Astro versus Boxten. Place your bets down below on who you think will take this one. We have begun the simulation between Astro and Boxten. For this fight, I made Boxten an assassin. I don't really know why. I just kind of felt like it. It was something fun. Oh, whoa. Boxten was red team. He just soloed Astro. Oh my gosh. And you know what? I went through all this pain doing this encounter thing. I think I'm just gonna do my own bias. I'm just gonna screw it. I'm just gonna choose who I think would win. All right, I'll do all the encounters, but that'll just be a reference point for me. So up next we have Brighty versus R&D. So who do we think would win? Brighty has Nightlight, which really isn't good in a fight, but she has a skill check of 3, movement speed of 3, stamina of 4, and extraction speed of 4 as well. So based off of everything we know, she's rather weak. As far as R&D goes, she has 3 skill check, 3 movement speed, 3 stamina, 3 stealth, and 3 extractions. And honestly, depending on how he fights would dictate a lot on who's actually in control of their body at the time. With that being said, though, I think the overall balanced stats of R&D might give them the edge over Tisha. Boop. And I don't think you guys honestly really care too much about me talking about the stats. I think you guys just want to use your own personal bias, and that's fine. With that being said, we know that Astro beats Boxten. Let's be honest. Up next, we have Glisten versus Goob. And as far as everything stands and as far as everything goes, we know Glisten is a selfish guy. Glisten is a selfish little wannabe baby boy. However, in this instance, Goob's grab and reach isn't helpful to him at all. He wouldn't want to bring Glisten closer to him. However, what if Goob uses long arms to grab Glisten and then just flame against the wall and shatter him? I think personally Glisten could make it farther, but just in this specific battle, I think Goob sold. Up next, I just realized I accidentally have the two children. The two children are pitted against each other. We have Finn and Toodles. Finn has pretty mid stats, and inside of a fight, his random ability really won't help him at all. It actually really doesn't help him. Whereas Toodles' ability actually can help her out a ton, especially if she got a bonus to her stat that like makes her stronger when fighting Finn. And if it was Finn versus V, I think you guys all know the outcome of that. However, that is not the fight. This is a tough one. It's really close, but I think Finn narrowly gets Toodles. I think you guys can all think that as a respectable fight. Up next, we have Glisten versus, what did I just say? We have Cosmo versus Roger. And Roger's ability really doesn't help him here, unless he really understands Cosmo if they were to go into a tussle. But also at the same time, Cosmo's ability of being able to heal other people also doesn't help her in this situation. I'm gonna say simply due to like battle IQ, I'm gonna say Roger takes the dub here. Up next, we have Gigi versus Flutter. And honestly, I feel like neither one of these people would be very good in a fight. I feel like Flutter especially wouldn't be good in a fight. Like, seriously, what's Flutter supposed to do? Is she just supposed to headbutt everyone with her dash ability? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Whereas Gigi is basically guaranteed to get a random item for the fight, which could be really good. She could randomly get herself a med kit. And mainly due to the fact that I just don't think Flutter can fight, I think Gigi takes that fight pretty handily. Up next, we have Shelly versus the other craft, Scraps. And I feel like both of these tunes are going to be pretty strong in a fight. Shelly is a rather interesting one as she is a main tune, but her ability Problem Solver won't help her in a 1v1, as well as her other ability will not help her in a 1v1. Whereas for Scraps, she can suction cup herself to whoever she's fighting, go in and dig those claws in deep, which I definitely think is going to give her the edge over Shelly in this situation. See you later, Shelly. You dead. Up next, we have Pebble versus Poppy. This one's kind of a tough one, because if we think Twisted Pebble, we're like, oh, dude, Pebble is going to destroy Poppy, right? Like, that's what we're all mentally thinking. But I think it gets a little bit closer than that, because his abilities don't really help him that much, and don't forget, he is a small little rock dog, but he does have the constitution of an absolute iron wolf. He can bark loudly, which decreases his stealth and alerts Twisted, which once again doesn't help in a 1v1. Or he has his second ability, Fetch, where you can sniff out items. Maybe in this theoretical 1v1 situation could help. Regardless, I don't think Pebble is as strong as we think. However, I just don't see in what world a literal bubble is going to be able to take out a rock dog. I think Pebble wipes. Up next, we have Tegan versus V. And this one's a bit of a tough one too. Basically, at any point in time, V will always know where their opponent is, which is pretty good. He also has the ability to see where the nearest uncompleted machine is, which doesn't really help once again in a 1v1. However, Tegan's ability is very good in a 1v1. Tegan can heal herself. So theoretically, if there were enough tapes on the floor and in the map, she would be able to heal herself. I also just think she outmuscles a literal TV. All you gotta do is get one good shot off on V's screen, and he's toast. And just like that, we've made it to our next round. We still have 3 main Toons surviving. However, Shelly did fall, and V also fell. So, coming up next, we have a rather powerhouse fight coming up. We have Astro versus Sprout. Ooh. Sprout's really good, but once again, Sprout is more of that supporter role. So in that situation, would she really be that strong in a fight against Astro, who has technically the ability to help people fall asleep? I don't think many people would argue that Astro goes ahead and takes that. I mean, come on. His ability is literally called nap time. Not only that, but he can regenerate stamina faster, and he might be nearly impossible to find. If he wanted to hide, he literally could. He could run around the map, run out of stealth, get it back, and then whack it again. I think Astro might be our powerhouse pick. Coming up next, we have R&D and Goob, and man, Goob's just OP. I don't think I need to explain it. Just those long arms can literally just start yamming R&D's head together until they literally, like, he could force him to make out. Like, it would just be bad. It would be bad. He would just slam them together, bomb, and R&D would just be literal toast. Coming up next, we had the first round bye of Shrimpo and Fen, and in no way, shape, or form do I think Fen should still be here. However, Shrimpo really shouldn't be here. Fen goes ahead and solos. I don't really think I need to explain that one very much. Coming up next, we have Gigi versus Roger, and this is a weird one. It's like neither one of these two Toons should really be advancing too much farther, but since this entire list was in fact random, we're keeping the integrity of it. I think that Roger simply wins because of dad energy. I sat there, I really thought about this matchup for a minute, and I'm like, if Roger and Gigi, Roger would win. It would be close, though. I think Gigi would put up a much better fight. Now, coming up next, I think we debatably have best matchup of the day. Scraps versus Pebble. What it really boils down to is, does Scraps have enough power? Does Scraps have enough force to take out Pebble? And literally, Pebble is a rock. Literally, Scraps is paper. And if we think about it like rock, paper, scissors, paper beats rock, but does it really? You know what? Pebbles has such a small mouth. What if Scraps somehow shot her tail in such a way she literally suction cupped Pebble's mouth shut and he couldn't breathe anymore? And just that scenario alone, I give it to Scraps. I'm not a big fan of Scraps, but I do think Scraps takes that fight. And then coming up next, it's a weird one because Connie doesn't have stats versus Tian, and with the Toon that can literally turn invisible theoretically. How good is that in a fight? It would be phenomenal, but you also can't attack anyone while you're in a fight. I don't know. I really don't know here. I'm gonna go Connie just because I feel like that ability to go invisible is broken. Weird pick. I know. We thug it out. All right. Now we have a big old bash coming up here. Who is gonna win between Astro and Goob? Oh my gosh. So the man that has infinite read, or the man that can put you to sleep and also hide from you and regain his own stamina while he hides from you. See, Astro isn't very fast, so I wonder if Goob, because he's a distractor, would be able to reach Astro before he really hid. This is really tough. I think Goob pulls in Astro too close. Astro can still put him to sleep, and I think that makes Astro win. Coming up next, I really don't think Roger should be this far. Roger had a pretty fluky way to get this far. Scraps wins. I don't think I really even need to explain it very well. Scraps can just suction cup to the glass really fast and then run up on Roger and then just basically slash him down. And this bottom bracket is also a fluke here. Fen versus Connie. I think we don't even know anything about Connie, but somehow she's in the final 3. Yeah, Connie beats Fen, right? Like no one's disagreeing with that. Connie beats Fen, right? We have 3 Toons left. And in this scenario, we're going to imagine all 3 of them were fighting each other at the same time for our grand finale. And before I answer this question, before we really deep dive into it, I'm going to leave this decision up in the air. I want you guys to help me decide in the comments. This video does well if you guys enjoyed this concept. I will really dig deep into Connie versus Astro and Scraps. I will really dig into their stats. I'll make a full-on video about it. Maybe I'll even pay an animator to animate a fight between these 3 Toons. Or maybe if you guys even agree with my stats. You know, I'll take the average of the polls and the comments of the final 3. And I'll do a really deep dove analysis on who I believe should win this fight. Either way, this video I thought was going to be really cool, but it ended up just kind of being really weird and wonky and making it really work out. The best way to decide is just by picking bias and fun. But hopefully it was interesting enough for you guys. Either way, with that being said, I enjoyed making it. Hope you enjoyed watching it. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Alright, bye.